Thank you guys for joining us for another episode of the Sit Down with Malik Wright presented by First Star Logistics. We are live from the First Star Logistics studio here in Cincinnati, Ohio with a jam-packed show. Lots of stuff to talk about, lots of stuff to get into. I'm here as always with my co-host. We've got Evan McPhillips. We've got Jules in the building. The
Hello.
crew is back. Got Daniel as the producer. And before we jump into today's topics, make sure you guys give this video a like, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. And the best part about the show, join in on the discussion. Today, we're going to have a deep dive discussion about Ja Morant and obviously his unfortunate situation. For those of you who don't know, Ja Morant was suspended by the NBA earlier in the season for, partying, having waving a gun out on Instagram Live. He went to rehab. He apparently learned from his mistakes, and somehow the season ended, and we find ourselves right back in that situation again, as he was seen on Instagram Live again, brandishing a weapon, and it seems like he was showing off and things of that nature. I certainly have my thoughts on it, and a lot of things that I want to get into, and a lot of things that I want to say. But knowing how I have a tendency to be long-winded, knowing how I have a tendency to go off the rails a little bit, I'm gonna let Jules kick this one off to get her piece out. Then we're gonna hear from Evan, and then you're gonna hear from me. But take the time that you need, Jules. The floor is yours.
All right. Well, I think a lot of this stems from who he hangs out with, who he surrounds himself with, because any good friend isn't going to go on live. And it seems like they're exposing him intentionally. Obviously, like he makes the decision to have a gun out and waving it on any live platform or whatever. He shouldn't be doing it anyways. But it's almost like he's self sabotaging, and as well, his friends are as well. And I don't understand how hard it is to just not do that. It's almost like he's trying to find every way to just not be in the league anymore. I don't understand it. I feel like it's a pretty simple solution where if you see someone on IG Live, maybe put the gun down. I don't understand how this keeps happening. And I know last time I said, yeah, I really believe in him. Like people make mistakes, but it's becoming a pattern, not really a mistake anymore, especially the amount of times he's done it already. He clearly didn't learn his lesson. They have to maybe a harder punishment this time. I don't really know. I just I don't get why you would do that to yourself. I don't at all.
Just to kind of review where we're at right now, Ja Morant, just 23 years old, I believe, 4 years in the league, 3 years in the league now. Um, just 2 months ago, obviously suspended for 8 games for posting a video of him holding a gun at a Colorado nightclub. Dating back to last summer, we've got issues of threatening head of security at a Memphis mall, as well as punching a 17-year-old boy during a pickup basketball game at his home. Um, and then, of course, there's the issue at FedEx Forum with the Pacers game, where acquaintances of Morant confronted members of the Pacers traveling party near the team bus in the loading area. And later after that, someone in a slow-moving SUV, which Morant was riding in, trained a red laser on them, which I think we can infer the intent there of at least a threat, even if not an actual gun. Um, this is a repeated pattern of behavior that's becoming problematic, especially after he supposedly sought help and had successfully worked on himself. I think Jules kind of hit the nail on the head with this is definitely an issue with the people he surrounded himself with, the kind of I understand that there's an onus on people who have quote unquote made it, right? To take care of the people who came up with you, who were there for you, especially in circumstances that I could not myself imagine. I have never been in. I can understand the duty that you might feel to them, but you can take care of people without surrounding yourself with them and heeding their advice. I have many good friends that I would not take advice in in certain areas and avenues from. I think we can all say the same. I think we have all have friends that never grew up after high school and still continue to make bad decisions. And I think Morant has that around him right now. Um, Obviously, waving a gun around is not exactly a crime. Um, neither is sticking a fork in an electrical socket, yet it's still something that's very stupid to do. You are risking physical harm to yourself, to the friends that you feel this duty to protect, your family, and also every bystander that is around you in that club, which presumably you have been drinking by that point. So now you're talking about drinking, waving a gun around. You're just asking for something terrible to happen to you or someone else. And then we end up with another tragedy like we did with Henry Ruggs, where someone makes a poor decision and a completely avoidable tragedy transpires. There's that physical element, but there's also a lack of awareness here for his platform and his influence. Those in power, those holding office, those in government, movie stars, sports stars, social media influencers, everyone who has a platform holds the ability to influence others, especially younger audiences. And though it may seem unfair to not be held to the same standard as others at times, those with that kind of platform and those kind of influence have a responsibility to be more morally upstanding than the average individual and not less. This is completely disregarding the what he has for himself and the viewpoint that others have for him. We know how popular he is among the younger players now. It was LeBron for so long, Steph for so long, and now Ja Morant seems to have that. He has all the cool factors, all the highlight plays, is a really wonderful player. He continues to make poor decisions, even with all these younger audiences looking up to him. Even in just the selfish regard, he continues to make poor decisions that cost him tens of millions of dollars in his contract and in his earning potential, because he won't make all NBA teams. Because now, not only did he hurt himself this past year, but now, because of the new all NBA team cut off of, I believe it's 65 games, if he gets suspended, he might not even make it then. We all know how big of a big deal it was for Jalen Brown in his contract to make an all NBA team, to really hurt yourself in your career like this, not to mention the endorsements. You think Nike's going to want to make another Ja Morant shoe? Do you think they're going to want to move forward with this if they've had this repeated instance of behavior? I don't think they want to be associated with that. There are a lot of other really talented athletes. So I just think he is forsaking his own best interest as well as disregarding the platform that he has as one of the NBA's youngest stars. And it's really sad to see for him to put himself and others at physical risk and in the way of physical harm, as well as just disregard the kind of social constructs that are kind of there, regardless of how you might feel about guns, especially in today's climate. To be an irresponsible gun owner is just really, it's disgusting to wave it in somebody's face, because there's so many people that train and take classes and do important things to protect themselves and make sure they're safe. And that is just not what we've seen from Ja Morant. So it's not about the gun. It's about the irresponsibility. It's about constantly posting this image, showing a pattern of aggressive behavior with other people. And it's really, really sad. And I really hope that he can find a way to straighten this out.
Ooh. So, Jules and Evan, I appreciate your input on this, right? I appreciate you both shedding light and insight on this. And I'm going to be very, very frank on this conversation. I was having a discussion with some of fellow friends of mine who are African American or Black, and there were a lot of excuses that were thrown up for Ja Morant. Well, they don't know what he's been through. They don't know what he's been through in his life. That's what was said. Who are they to say what he can or what he can't do? Let me be very, very real with y'all real quick. There's such thing as not being a product of your environment. There's such thing as not being a product of your environment. But newsflash, Ja Morant is no longer in that environment. Why? Because he made it out of that environment. So the choices that he has made are choices that he's made for himself. No one is saying, Ja Morant, hang out with the people that you're hanging out. No one is saying, Ja Morant, brandish a gun on Instagram because you think it's cool. Listen, I understand how it feels to get hyped up listening to rap music, right? Listening to NBA Youngboy or Drake or whoever the hell you listen to. I get it. We all like that one artist that we feel gets us hyped, gets us pumped up, right? But when you are the face of a franchise, right? For those of you who are friends of mine, who I was speaking to about this situation, and you say, "Oh, they don't have a right to do this." Well, they do, because when you sign on to be the face of a franchise, and when they decided to draft Ja Morant and make him the face of the franchise, and what do I mean by face of the franchise? You could just be like, anybody could be the face of the franchise. No, this is a guy that's, when you walk into the Memphis Grizzlies arena, he's plastered on billboards. He is plastered all around the Memphis Grizzly arena. He is the ambassador of the Memphis Grizzlies basketball organization. When there are events, he's taking pictures with kids. So you have a responsibility, you have a duty at that point to be mindful of the audience that is watching you. Even me, on a lower level, I am not comparing myself to Ja Morant. I have a responsibility for the people that tune into the Sit Down with Malik Wright each and every single week. Why? I represent First Star Logistics. I also represent my company, the Right Way Sports Network. So no, I can't go out there and do the ignorant things that I don't feel the need to, but maybe someone else might feel the need to. This is a message right here for young athletes, young people, future entrepreneurs, whoever. Just because you do things on your own time does not make it correct, doesn't make it right. You still represent someone. If you don't represent a company, if you don't represent a team, you still represent yourself. You still represent your family. And that's important. And I take it very, very serious. I take this very, very serious. See, before I really, got into this sports industry, I used to be a youth pastor. And I used to mentor youth. That's what I used to do. And I used to spend every single Friday night mentoring the youth and having conversations with the youth about these type of things. I think a lot of this stuff start at home. Start right at home with the teachings, the parents teaching their children certain stuff. And my thought process on this entire Ja Morant situation is, we can't be so quick to let him off the hook, because it's the second time in many weeks in which this has happened. The second time. But when you are the face of an organization, you have a responsibility. You have a responsibility to carry yourself in a professional manner. I have a responsibility to carry myself in a professional manner. Jules, you have a responsibility to carry yourself in a professional manner, and the same goes for you, Evan, the same goes for you, Daniel. And everybody in every walk of life, no matter what job you do, you go on Instagram right now, you brandish a gun, I'm sure your company's going to give you a phone call. Somebody's going to give you a phone call, hold you accountable. Why? Because your image is everything. So my message to the young people is, be careful what you do. Be careful who you surround yourself with. The things that you think are cool in the moment, think about the long-term implications of them. Because guess what? For every action, there's a consequence. And for Ja Morant, there's a consequence. To me, it's self-destructive behavior to constantly want to be down so much. Listen, it's self-destructive behavior for me, for him to want to be down so much that he's willing to sacrifice his basketball career. Because that's what we're talking about here, right? That is what we're talking about here. It may not be this instant. And you might be like, oh, he just got a gun on social media. Right? You might be like, oh, it's just a gun on social media, but what does that lead to down the road? And for those people who, I've had conversations with people on both sides of the fence. Some people sticking up for him, some people not. Let me explain to you my life for a little bit. I grew up in the hood at one point in time. I remember one point in time having to fight each and every single day. Luckily, I had a mother who cared, who loved, who got us out of that environment. So when we talk about, oh, he came from that. Well, there are a lot of my friends. I've had friends who died, who actually went through crap, friends who are in jail. So when we talk about, oh, it's a product of he's just a product of his environment. He's long and away, far removed from that environment. It is now a self decision. It is a decision that he's making himself to continuously put himself in that predicament. And the excuses fall short to me. The excuses fall flat to me. I take it very, very serious when you have people that are in positions of power that impact the youth. And if you watch this guy, this is a guy we're talking about that could be the face of the NBA. So many young people follow this guy and love this guy. And I think I'm not here to beat up on Ja Morant. I'm here to say I don't think he realizes the impact that he has on the masses. I don't think he realizes that. And for you in the comment section, Jeff Jr., you said all NBA players have in the NBA have guns. That could be the case. Have you ever seen LeBron running around with a gun on Instagram?
They're not all showing it. That's the difference.
Right. There's having a gun.
There's being a shooting range. They're sitting there I saw somebody say, doing like YouTube gun reviews. Like, oh, I shot this one at the range. I really like this.
Yeah.
That is completely different than having a gun, especially after drinking, most likely at a club at 3 a.m., brandishing a weapon in a populated area, man. We know what Plexico did to himself.
Listen.
If you accidentally shoot yourself, what if you hit your freaking femoral artery?
Mm-hmm.
You bleed out.
Yeah.
Because of a stupid mistake. It's just unnecessary. Like you said, it's not necessary in his current circumstances.
I just think Ja Morant is such a tremendous talent. He's a phenomenal basketball player. He isn't the wisest, though. He couldn't be. Because if he was, he wouldn't continuously make the same mistakes he makes over and over again. And shame on it. Listen, if anybody thinks what Ja Morant did was cool or even acceptable, you are a part of the problem. I'm just being honest. You're a part of the problem. The fact of the matter is, we have to be mindful of our audience and who we are impacting. You know, I can't stress it enough. You have to be mindful of the impact that you are having on people. And I love what Chuck said in the comment section right here. Chuck, that's even to a greater point. We're not even talking about the danger that puts Ja Morant in, or the people that surround themselves with Ja Morant, maybe like his teammates, family. What if somebody feels the need to one day want to test you because they see you putting on an image or a facade? Right? I mean, I'll be honest, right? What happens if somebody one day wants to test you? I mean, you already seeing a lot of gang members making videos on social media saying, Ja Morant, come to the hood. I'll show you this. I'll show you that. Like, this is real stuff right here. Like, at the same, listen, if you continuously portray an image, right, at some point, that becomes your reality. And if that becomes your reality, that gets scary. That gets very, very scary. And it can get scary very fast, especially if you're surrounding yourself with those type of individuals. So my message, listen, Ja Morant's a grown man, and I'm sure he's got people right now in his ear talking to him. This is more so to the young people and the people that look up to this guy and the people that are aspiring athletes. Listen, protect your brand, protect your image. It is so freaking important. Don't let anybody tell you anything else. And if you don't have someone telling you it, I'm here to tell you it. Protect your image. That I don't care if you want to be a football player, a basketball player, a baseball player. Maybe you don't want to go into athletics. Maybe you want to be a CEO one day. Maybe you want to go into business one day. Be mindful of how you utilize your social media, because that stuff follows you. The things you do follow you. And if you are currently in a career and working for a job, guess what? Be mindful of how you carry yourself in that way too. And Jeff, I guess this is going to be one of those things that we agree to disagree with. See, on the sit down with Malik Wright, we interact with people. We interact with people that comment. You say he flashed a gun on IG, and all of you are acting like he killed somebody. See, brother, you're missing the big picture.
That's like saying, "Oh, you did reckless driving, but you didn't hit anybody and kill anybody, so it's no
Yeah.
big deal, right?"
You're missing the big picture. You're missing the big picture here, man. It's about the influence that he has on people, as well as the trajectory of where his career is going, man. And if you can't see that, that's just something you're not willing to see. Again, that would probably be considered a yes man in his corner at that point. Oh, what you do is not a big deal. No, it is a big deal, especially when you're the face of a $1 billion organization. And I'm sure the Memphis Grizzlies aren't looking at it like it isn't a big deal. Yes, it takes a lifetime to build your image, and you can destroy it in an instant, 100%. So disregard what he's saying in the comment section. For those of you who are watching, trust me, your image is everything. Your image is important, and be mindful of how you carry yourself.
I think it's also important to remember that, like, when you sign up, you're an NBA player, you signed a contract with the NBA, there's a code of conduct that goes with that, just like the NFL, that says you cannot have these violent behaviors and they are subject to review if you are putting yourself and others in danger, where you are, again, waving a gun around in a club, a populated club, shining lasers at people with the threat of violence. You are literally threatening someone. Yeah, you didn't shoot them, but there's no other way to put that, is the same way, like you said, if you sign a code of conduct with your contract with your company, you are just as likely, if you're doing stupid stuff, whether that's getting arrested for running butt naked in the street, whatever. Did you hurt anybody? Did you kill anybody? No, but your company is still going to look at the code of conduct and say, you violated our agreement. The NBA is not a right. The NFL is not a right. Just because you're good enough to play doesn't mean you get to. If you assault people, women, children, if you do this stuff, you are going to get penalized for it. They are trying to change their image. They're trying to show that they are not going to allow people to damage the name of the league, to hurt themselves, to hurt other players, to damage the product because they don't have self-control. And again, I saw someone else talk about how it's a repeat offense thing. This is something he just got punished for, just said, I understand what I did, the ramifications of it, and I'm going to seek help. And then immediately did it again.
Right.
And again, yes, nothing happened this time. It could be a plexico burrus. He could shoot himself and he could be completely fine.
Mm-hmm.
Or he could, again, clip his artery right in his leg. And suddenly he bleeds out, and it's a damn tragedy. It's that close to being something that is completely avoidable.
Right. To me, it's like, it's one of those things where it's never a big deal until it's a big deal. Right. And that's how people are treating, like some people are treating this thing. It's just, it shouldn't be a thing of where he gets a pass, or where you say it's a product, your environment. You have a decision to make if you want to continuously make that your reality. So I guess this brings me to my next question, continuing on the Ja Morant topic. What do we expect the suspension to look like? What do we expect the punishment to look like here for Ja Morant? I know there are rumors, there are reports out there saying they're expecting this to be a heavy, they expect a heavy disciplinary action from the NBA to really try to make a statement. So I'm really care. I'm really curious to see what you guys thought. Jules, you have any thoughts on that? What do you think what do you? I guess the better question is, what do you think the suspension should be for Ja Morant, or the punishment should be for Ja Morant?
I mean, last time it was 8 games, and it obviously didn't make a difference to him. So I think it should be. I don't know. Obviously, more than 8. I would say. I don't know what's too harsh, but I think he needs a lesson like 20, 25 games at the beginning of the season. Like, I just don't. Clearly, he didn't learn the first time. You're not just going to go up to 10. You need to make it more. Something else needs to be done, because obviously, what did he do? He had counseling like 6 times or something. That's not enough. He clearly isn't willing to change right now, at least. I'm not saying he never will. I just don't. It's almost like, to your point earlier, it's like, is it directed at someone? Like, how can you continue to do the same thing,
right,
and not learn from it?
I think there's an element of immaturity to it, right? Yeah. And I'm not trying to say that I had it all together at 23. Hell, I'm 28 and I still don't, right? But there's also, you have to mature a little bit faster, which is why you have all these people to help you. You have people you can talk to with the team. You've got other NBA players you can confide in. You've got plenty of people you can go to for advice on these things to help you when you don't understand. The same way when we're buying a house for the first time or whatever, we call our parents and we try and figure out what the lay of the land is, what's going on.
Not me. I'm messing around. I'm messing around.
Malik knows everything, guys. I'm sorry.
Kidding. No,
But
that's not the day.
I'm playing with you. Chill
I
out.
called my parents when I purchased my first new car that I just got.
That's
There you go.
awesome.
Like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know anything about cars. But anyways,
But
continue.
yeah, with Morant, I think you see at least 18 to 20 games and maybe more. And the reason I say 18 to 20 is because missing 8 games will automatically disqualify him from the season awards, like we talked about, where 65 games are what you have to play. Assuming he plays all of them, I think they would want to take away that chance, because not only does it penalize him in the immediate future, it penalizes him long term as well. And I think that sets good precedent of, one, we're not going to stand for repeated, rapid violations of the same ilk to the NBA Code of Conduct policy and brandishing yourself in this manner, but also it's going to hurt your earnings long term. It'll hurt your earnings with your sponsors. I guarantee he's going to have a lot less sponsors, from Nike to other local community sponsors. I think it's going to hurt his salary. I think there's ramifications for this. The NBA has an opportunity, just by suspending him that 18 to 20 games, to send that shockwave of ramifications that will not just affect him in the immediate future, but for seasons to come. And I think that's going to be a good reminder to him as he develops and hopefully matures. And hopefully it sets precedent for others who are having the same kind of issues and gives them more reason to try and consider the impacts and the ramifications in the future of their actions in the immediate future.
And speaking more about some things that maybe the organization could do, I would love to see the Grizzly organization get more vets in there, get more people they can surround, some of these young players. They have a young team there. So surround that team with, who I think would be a phenomenal mentor for Ja Morant? I actually want to hear, does anybody want to guess who I'm thinking about right now? A phenomenal mentor.
Draymond Green.
Nope.
I feel like that's
But that wouldn't be bad. But and I think him and Ja Morant already had something. So like they had a squabble already. Who do you think I'm referring to?
No, I have no idea.
I have no idea.
Derrick Rose.
Oh, I never would have thought.
I think Derrick Rose would be a perfect.
Very similar play style too.
Very similar. Remember, Derrick Rose grew up in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
He's talked about in the lifestyle that he grew up around, and he wasn't trying to stay in that lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to talk about somebody that actually, been through the ringer a little bit.
Right.
I think Derrick Rose will be a phenomenal mentor for Ja Morant. And Derrick Rose already fell out of the rotation with the Derrick Rose already fell out of favor in New York. He's not even playing anymore.
Mm.
Maybe the Memphis Grizzlies. Maybe the Memphis Grizzlies bring him back, and he plays there. Not the Grizzlies bring him back, but maybe he comes back and he plays for another season, and he signs on with the Grizzlies, and he's able to be a mentor for Ja Morant for a year, maybe 2 years, and they go from there. Just a thought. I think that could be huge for him. I think that could be huge for his maturity. So that's just my 2 cents, man. The expectations for Ja Morant are much higher. You expect more from him. You think that he's a phenomenal talent. You certainly see the level of play. Let's hope he surrounds himself with the right people. Let's hope that he gets the help that he needs. And hopefully this is a huge wake-up call for him. Hopefully this is a huge wake-up call for him. And, hopefully he really just smartens up and matures, because he is a young guy. He is a young guy, right? And he does have a lot of money. So, hopefully he can find a way to refocus that energy that he has and refocus himself a little bit and on the correct things. Dan, you have any thoughts that you want to add to the Ja Morant thing?
I think the biggest thing for me, you made a very good comparison. And when we're talking about, Derrick Rose, even as a player too, I think Ja can learn a lot, because, Derrick Rose, very similar play style to where both use high bounce, and it took Derrick Rose one injury. And, obviously we don't want to see a Ja Morant injury, but his play style isn't, I don't know if it has the most longevity out of any player, because it's very, it relies so much on his athleticism, but specifically as a player, he's just got to learn that he's a role model to other people, and he can't expect his friends to be the ones that are going to tell him no. He's got to be the person that puts his friends on. So that's just the way I see it. He has one or two ways to go about it. Either be the guy that says, I made it out and I'm going to change my friends' lives, or I made it out, but I want to go back. So just my 2 cents.
It's appropriate of someone's city, yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think that's all we got on the Ja Morant situation, right? Anybody else that got anything else they want to add?
No.
All right, I want to keep this conversation rolling. Before we continue, guys, give this video a like, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. We appreciate y'all so much for joining in the discussion. We love having these talks with y'all, and we're gonna get to the point in the show where we talk about shoot, I lost my train of thought. Where we talk about the Boston Celtics, but we're also going to talk about we're also going to answer your questions at later on in the show. So make sure you guys get those questions ready. Michael Rolfe says, topic 2: when is it appropriate to lighten the mood? Will Malik be publicly apologizing to Jason Tatum this evening for thrashing him last week after he delivered the Celtics to the conference finals? All right. Yeah, I mean, we can talk about that, but give me a second. While the mood is still heavy, let's keep it on a heavy mood.
Oh no.
Black ties, black suits. Monty Williams got fired from the Suns. And what are our thoughts on that? Monty Williams fired from the Suns after having Kevin Durant for a few games healthy. Do we like it? Do we love it? Do we hate it? What are our thoughts? We are going to get to your questions like we do every single show. So stay tuned. We're going to be talking about everything you guys want to talk about, but let's just keep it going with the Monty Williams talk real quick.
I don't really like it, but I'm also not shocked at the same time. I mean, it's the second year in a row where they've been blown out at home in a game that was a must win. I
thought you were going somewhere else with
Oh,
that.
no.
They lost to 2 best friends back-to-back years, right? Luka Doncic and Nikola Jokic.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
But at the same time, can they really expect a coach who literally has no bench to win? I mean,
right.
I don't think.
I think it's the curse of Chris Paul. There, I said it.
I
think it's the curse of Chris Paul. I think there are certain players in the NBA that will never get a ring, and I'm going to say it right now. Chris Paul's one of them, right? Chris Paul's one of them. I don't think Chris Paul will ever get a ring. He should probably retire after this year, and he always gets hurt in the playoffs.
Yeah, I was going to say, and he's hurt again.
I don't think Jimmy Butler's going to get a ring. As much as I appreciate him, as much as I like him, I think he's a phenomenal player. Don't think he's going to get a ring. I don't think James Harden's ever going to get a ring.
Oh, yeah. That's one I was going to say.
Don't think he can. I don't think Joel Embiid is going to.
Nope.
I just think that there are certain players, right, that I don't know. I'm being facetious a little bit here, but like every team that Chris Paul is a part of that you think is going to always collapse all the time. All the time. So, yeah, I'm sorry. I went on a rant right there.
Nah,
Monty Williams got fired.
That's really all I can say.
I'm sorry for taking a dig at Jimmy Butler, by the way. I apologize.
Jimmy's doing just fine without you.
Yeah,
That's
Jimmy's
all right.
vibing. I'm Team Heat. Sorry.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You could be Team Heat all you want. Guess what?
Don't talk about the Cavs.
We're going to send them packing. We're going to send them packing. We're smoking on that Heat pack.
Ooh.
That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. What are your thoughts, Evan?
I think the owner was looking for a reason to get rid of Monty.
Yep.
Since he got in there, he's been making a lot of quick changes. Clearly not his guy, quote unquote. I think he would have been more amenable if things worked out more smoothly, or rather he would have had a harder time firing him. But this early exit in the playoffs with those expectations, like you said, is it fair when you have a hobbled Chris Paul and then Devin Booker and Kevin Durant have to literally will you to victory? I mean, who was their next best player? I mean, we want to say DeAndre Ayton, but like in that series, like who was it? Because who was stepping up? Because we know DeAndre Ayton has always shrunk when he needed to be there. He doesn't play big. He is solid on the defensive end. He's not like a defensive anchor down there, and they definitely could have needed that. And it's just the team doesn't have depth. I think in this offseason, they're going to have to really look at themselves and say, man, we really need like just some good players, like a Spencer Dinwiddie, like a Josh Hart. We just need some good basketball players. They don't have to be stars. We need a bunch of solid guys because they saw their depth was not good enough.
Mm-hmm.
Not good enough
Mm-hmm.
to where you can't rely on these guys, and especially
Landry
if one
Shamet campaign
too
coming
much,
in,
man.
yeah.
Torrey Craig, you're saying
Ooh.
these got to be the guys.
Coming in
Yeah.
getting
These got to be
fouls.
the guys.
Right.
I like campaign, but man, like
Yeah.
I like campaign coming off the bench.
exactly, and that's
Yeah.
the thing is like you need more quality players. They got too top heavy,
Mhm.
and it showed, especially when Kevin Durant has been dealing with nagging injuries. We know Devin Booker can't be Superman every single night. Like you need more than that. You need a
Mhm.
third star, and you need depth, and sometimes you need both. Sometimes a third star isn't good enough by itself. We've seen that before. So I think it's unfair to pin all of this on Monty, but at the same time, I feel like he kind of got thrown under the bus as, hey, yeah, that guy, he's the reason we couldn't do it. So there he is. He's gone. But I think it gives the owner the opportunity to hire his guy, quote unquote.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. He already came in and was like, "Yeah, I want to get rid of this guy." I just feel like with how aggressive he was
Mhm.
and getting Durant, but then proceeding to get rid of like their entire bench, they're gonna have to build off this roster, and I don't know if they can do it. And now with this move, there's just more pressure being added. How are they gonna build off the roster next year to make them a better team?
I agree.
I don't know. I don't think it was smart. I mean, you got to blame someone, but I don't think. I mean, he did what he did with what he's given. I mean, he had no bench. You can't win without a bench. Trust me, my team knows that.
Who's that?
The Cavs.
Sorry.
At least they had a little bit of bench, maybe.
So I'll say this. I definitely think that Monty Williams, the expectations were obviously higher for Monty Williams. But before I jump into that, I have a friend of mine who lives in Arizona who is a big time Phoenix Suns fan. And dating back to about 2 years ago, they would tell me, if we get Kevin Durant, we're going to the finals. If we get Kevin Durant, we're doing this. Ethan, how's it going, buddy? You guys got Kevin Durant. You did nothing, right? You did nothing. Your bench sucked. DeAndre Ayton DeAndre Ayton did the right thing. He made a business decision, probably chose to sat out that game because he's like, I probably can get sent back in here. I'm kidding here. But honestly, the Suns, for me, we crowned them way too early. We crowned them at the trade deadline. We said it would work. We said it was perfect. Now, unfortunately, Kevin Durant did get hurt. He got hurt in warmups and didn't come back until
is that the most significant non-playing injury since Steve Nash hurt his back carrying groceries that one
literally.
year? You remember that?
Yes, I
When
did.
it was the super team Lakers with Dwight Howard and Kobe, and it said here he goes, and then it was like 2 weeks later, it was like reports Steve Nash hurt his back carrying groceries.
If I was in the NBA, that would be how I hurt myself.
Right. That's actually-
Honestly.
No, but in all seriousness, though, can we just slow down on crowning people way too early? Because
I
I sat
agree.
up here and I told people, I said, hey, with the Lakers getting the playoffs, be careful. They're going to make some noise. No, you don't know what you're talking about. So we clipped it. We put it up a short on the YouTube channel. And guess what? It is thriving. It is flourishing. And it looks like the Lakers are going to be a freaking problem. The fact of the matter is, though, how much do we blame this core that's together? Because Kevin Durant hasn't been able to win since he left Golden State. Things fell apart in Brooklyn. He had James Harden. He had Kyrie. Right? I'm being honest.
And people
I'm
are
just
out
being
there
honest.
calling Durant
I know you're
the
being
GOAT.
honest. I don't think that's shit, but that's me. But you know my opinion on Kyrie, and
No,
we know how I feel about James
I
Harden.
hear
Oh
ya.
yeah.
But guess what? That was still a talented team. It was still a talented team. I even like their bench personally. I like Seth Curry. I did.
Mhm.
The fact of the matter is he didn't do jack crap with that. What is KD's legacy? We always keep pinpointing a coach, right? Or even how I brought up Chris Paul. What is KD's legacy?
If it were
KD's supposed to be
LeBron, they would be
X-
blaming him.
100%. KD is supposed to be the quote unquote X factor. He's supposed to be the quote unquote difference maker. Didn't show up. DeAndre Ayton, he had moments, but didn't show up. Devin Booker probably was the most consistent player for them throughout this playoffs. But for me, I'm looking squarely at KD because when they grabbed KD, everybody was saying, "Oh, that's going to take them over the top. That's going to be the change. That's going to be." To me, I just think the team is weird. Chris Paul, they play at a super weird, slow pace. Then Devin Booker, I admit it, Devin Booker's gotten better as a playmaker and getting others involved. To me, that was an area of his game where I felt he struggled at, and I felt like he needed to get better at because to me he was too much of a ball hog, but he got better at it. To me, that fast pace that they were playing with Campaign. Now, Campaign is Campaign. Now, so I'm not saying Campaign was the difference maker. What I'm saying is you noticed that team ran with a different type of pace, right? That team ran with a different type of pace when Campaign was there. So like I feel like their play styles they don't play off each other. I also felt at times that Kevin Durant and Devin Booker were almost jockeying for position at points. It felt like, I saw Kevin Durant frustrated at points where he wasn't getting the ball. And there was one point in particular in this series where Devin Booker's like, "Yo, set the screen for me," and KD just walked away and completely walked away from the play and did not set the screen for him. And you saw frustration on his face. You saw frustration on Devin Booker's face. And it's one of those things. It's like, all right, maybe they're not seeing eye to eye. They're both guys that demand the ball in the hand, that demand that type of attention. Okay. I don't know. That's just my thought process. I think that more blame needs to go on. You could blame coaches all you want, but as they always say is that some people say coaches don't matter in the NBA as much as they matter in like the NFL and other sports, because guess what? It comes down to the players. They got to be out there. Now, coaches may draw up plays, but if you got star freaking players like LeBron James, you can take over and say, you know what? I'm going to will my team. I'm going to do this. You think Jason Kidd is really out there drafting up plays for Luka Doncic? And no, he's not. He's not. You think Steve Kerr is really out there drafting up plays for the Warriors? No, it's get the ball to Steph Curry. It's get the ball in Steph Curry's hand. That's why Steph Curry will run around a guy 3 times until he finally gets space, and as soon as he gets the ball in his hands, pop up at 3. That's not coaching. That's not coaching. It's not. Kevin Durant dribbling the ball, and doing that same dumbass, going toward the basket and stop mid, fade away, pull up. That's not coaching. That's on the player. That's skill. There's no play being drawn up there. How many times in this series did we see Kevin Durant take on Aaron Gordon one-on-one, get Aaron Gordon on his hip, and as soon as Aaron Gordon's on his hip, flails up and either makes the shot, drains the mid-range shot, or gets a foul call? And what did they do? They lived at the free throw line. That's not a recipe for success. What we saw out of James Harden and Joel Embiid was not coaching. It's not. So we're out here firing coaches for what? For what? This guy was a 2-time coach of the year. 2-time coach of the year out of the last 4 years. Come on now. I don't know. That's just my thought process on this whole thing. Yeah, of course Monty Williams is scapegoat because he's not the – listen, because coaching does not matter as much in the NBA as we like to make it seem like it does. I'll tell you who's a damn good coach. Mike Brown. Eric Spoelstra's a damn good coach too. And you notice the difference when they're out there coaching.
You notice the difference when they make bad players look good.
Right.
When they play to their strengths.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that man turned back the clock for James Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how quickly did Hassan Whiteside turn into absolutely nothing once he left there? I mean, Max Strus, Gabe Vincent. I mean, who are these guys?
Right.
Right. Like
Udonis Haslem. I'm kidding. But
don't talk about my man ED like that. Or,
we don't do that. All right. Well, listen. But this is the part of the show where we go and jump into some of your questions, and we're just going to just talk freely about topics. I know we had some other topics to get into, but you know what? It feels like if we get to those, we'll get to them. But I don't really have too much thoughts on Dan Snyder selling the Commanders. I'm just
Dan Snyder sucks.
That's
about it.
I'm happy for
the Commanders fan.
Yeah,
I know they're happy.
but let's hear this. Michael Rolfe, let's discuss. I guess, Danny, we can get to his question first.
So we're going to go back to his question. He said, topic 2, when it's appropriate. Will Malik be publicly apologizing to Jason Tatum this evening for trashing him last week after he delivered the Celtics to the conference finals? Malik, to that you say.
what's his other comment? He put another comment too, just now at the bottom. Did you guys clip Malik?
Did you guys clip Malik playing Jason Tatum wasn't him? I can't wait for this explanation.
Yeah, let's talk about that. So you want me to, Michael Rolfe, and I appreciate you always supporting, brother. So you want me to take back the fact that Jason Tatum went 0 for 8 in 2 games. And you want me to take back the fact that Jason Tatum ended the first half with 2 points. And we're going to forget all of that, and we're only going to single out the elimination game performance he had and say, great. Let me explain something. I'm a Celtics fan. I want the Celtics to do great. I want Jason Tatum to do great. It is my job, if he is not playing great, to say he's not playing great. I am not a homer. I am not here to say one thing or the other. I'm here to tell you guys that Jason Tatum, what we saw from the performance. Now, I'm not talking about the performance of him going, scoring 50. I'm talking about him showing up consistently and being an impactful player. That is something that should happen every single game. And I get it. Players will have bad games. But 2 bad games in a row? Not being an X factor? Sure, you scored 16 points in the 4th quarter. But what about the rest? Maybe the games wouldn't be as tight. Maybe the series would have been packed up already had he showed up sooner. I'm always going to require excellence of Jason Tatum, especially a guy that, many people consider one of the greatest. The fact of the matter is, Jason Tatum needs to play better on a consistent level. And I expect the series to be very, very back and forth, and I'm excited to see what happens going forward. That being said, I am happy as hell that the Celtics moved on. The Cavaliers are home, and now we get to take Evan's Heat to the woodshed, and I can't wait. It's going to be a great battle. Listen, I'm not blind. We are going to drop games, a game or 2, maybe to the Heat. Why? Because Heat culture. It's what they do, right? They find a way. Eric Spoelstra, one of the best basketball coaches, if not the best basketball coach in the association right now. So we're not blind to that fact. I also have some issues with Joe Mazzulla still at this time. I do. He seemed like he finally made an adjustment that I could get behind. Everybody, you might be asking, what is that adjustment? Well, he said, you know what? I'm tired of Joel Embiid abusing old Al Horford in the post. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add Robert Williams in there. Shocker. I'm not going to start Derek White. We're going to start Robert Williams and Al Horford, and we're going to say Joel Embiid beat us. So, yeah. Joe Mazzulla got my respect for that. He did.
And we'll give James Harden everything he wants.
But let's
Let him
not
sink
wait.
himself.
Let's not wait too long to see this develop, though. But I got some news for y'all right now. The Celtics are going to beat the Heat in the series.
Yeah. After finally making that adjustment. Yeah.
Jimmy Butler can't do it by himself.
That's why they got Bam, baby.
I think Bam Adebayo is what? Yeah,
Kevin Love, 25
not
point
in
game.
Foul trouble. When he's not scoring 25
25,
points.
10, and 10.
25 in his mind.
Triple-double Kev.
He's gonna get in foul trouble.
Timberwolves, Kevin Love is back.
Listen.
Totally.
He's gonna get in foul trouble. He's gonna get sent on the bench. I don't know if you realize what the Heat do with Kevin Love now.
No, I swear I'm only trolling. I know he's not gonna do anything.
It kind of pisses me off though. They play Kevin Love for like the first quarter, the second quarter, and then the rest of the game, it's Caleb Martin.
Yeah. Caleb Martin got to play that defense, baby. Got to get them rebounds.
Like Kevin Love doesn't even sniff the floor in the 4th quarter.
He just got to go spot up a little bit, man.
That's interesting.
Hey, Malik. The Heat and the Celtics have played 30 times in the playoff. It's 16-14 Heat. Do the Celtics overtake the Heat in the series after this one?
Wait, say that one more time?
They're going to have to be 4-1 to start winning the series between the Heat and the Celtics. You think they go 4-1 against the Heat?
In the series, you say in the series? I think the Heat take 2 games.
2. All right.
I do. The Celtics have a weird way of making things harder on themselves.
Oh yeah.
The Heat are pretty good at that too.
Yeah, they do. They both do that.
I'm excited.
going to
Listen,
7.
I just think that matchup.
I don't think Miami's going to shoot the lights out like they have been, man. That's really opened things up for Bam and for Jimmy to operate. They've done a good job of trying to maneuver to get their playmakers in space, get them the ability to score. But man, what did they shoot? Like 50-something% on contested threes when they beat Milwaukee? Like, that's just, again, we talked about it. Like, I like Gabe Vincent. I like Max Strus, but I'm not delusional about where they stand in terms of NBA pedigree and hierarchy at present. Kyle Lowry is sometimes shows up, and even when he does, he still kind of looks like a shell of himself. They did not get the end of Toronto Kyle Lowry, which, to be fair, he's dealt with injuries, various injuries.
Kyle Lowry shocked me. I can't lie. This past year, he did.
What, this past year?
No, this past series. I said.
Oh yeah,
he
for sure.
shocked
After
me.
the year he had, I was like,
whoa. I said he turned back the clock.
right.
I
So
said, wow.
He's back.
I don't expect a lot of these things that have gone right to continue to go right. I still think the Heat's defense is fantastic. I think they rotate well. I think they communicate well, and I think they have good little man zones switching. They play zone about as well as anybody in the league and can just throw it at you, throw a wrench in things. But I just don't know if the offense is going to consistently be there enough to keep up with what guys like Brown, like Brogdon can do off the bench, like Smart, who has kind of found a little bit of his jump shot, a lot more than he had in recent years. But I think they're going to find ways to score the ball at a pace that might be difficult for Miami to keep up with.
Yeah. I think that matchup between Tatum and Jimmy is going to be special. I'm really, really looking forward to that. Jimmy's just a gamer, man. He just shows up. The guy just balls and plays hard. That's just my thoughts. Let's get to some more questions. I know that was very, very long-winded, but Celtics up. Let's get it.
So I want to keep it with the Celtics versus the Heat really quickly. Bucky 3113 said, if Jimmy Butler wins it all, where is he in the all-time discussion, especially after run as a number 8 seed?
Jimmy goes down as one of the greatest dogs in NBA history.
I'll put him in the greatest dogs conversation.
Yeah,
I was going to say,
he is Michael Jordan's long lost son, apparently. So, you guys heard that, seen
Oh,
that
yeah.
joke around there? Because
I'm trying to think where he would rank in like Heat hierarchy, because obviously you got Wade up there.
He's definitely top
5.
Top 5 has to be.
Yeah.
Easily.
I mean,
didn't he score the most points?
They got a lot of respect for Zoe. I guess he'd probably sneak into that top 5 with this kind of run. Yeah.
I think he already has.
Yeah, I think he already has too.
I think he
But
already
you know
has,
more
man.
about the Heat than me.
I was gonna say, that's the thing, is how long do you have to play for the Heat to be claimed, right?
Look-
Because
look-
otherwise Shaq is in that conversation, LeBron is in that
True.
conversation.
LeBron,
Shaq
yeah.
was on the winning team.
Yeah.
That you can say he was only there for a short time, but he was part of the ship, and he was part of Dwayne Wade being there. Like, that was magical with Shaq and Diesel, baby.
I
A
will
little
say-
flash of Diesel,
Shaq
a little
and
flash of
I will say
Diesel.
this, I hate to keep piling onto the 76ers, but and my man Evan Knighty is watching in here. He's a big time 76ers fan. Ev, sorry we had to do that. Do your team dirty like that. But how dumb do you think they feel, man? They chose Tobias Harris basically over Jimmy Butler, man. They could have had Jimmy
Bro.
Butler.
That's
man.
rough.
They always say, what is it?
rough.
Trust the process. You got to trash the process.
Think about this. You could have had
Every year.
anybody
I
except for
told-
James Harden.
I
Every
told Dave
single
at the
year.
beginning of this year that the
Mm.
process is officially dead. He said, "No, it's not.
It's been dead.
No, it's not.
It has been dead
It's
for
gone.
Listen,
long
listen,
time.
Listen, what I will say is, I don't think the process is dead because I still believe. I still believe if you have another star next to Joel Embiid, he can win a finals. I think if they have somebody capable, unlike James Harden. James Harden was a shell of his former self. He was terrible. If they have a guy like Dame Lillard on that team, I think that team's a final team.
What do you think Dame Lillard
The
want to go there?
process is on life support
No,
right now.
but I'm saying the process isn't dead until Embiid's off the team. That's just my opinion.
You want me to read the starting lineups for the series that Joel Embiid's actually managed to win?
Let's hear it.
Heat in 2018, James Johnson, Goran Dragic, Kelly Olynyk, Josh Richardson. These are the top minutes getters for each of these teams.
Mhm.
The Nets, 19, Joe Harris, D'Angelo Russell, Karis LeVert, Spencer Dinwiddie. The Wizards, Bradley Beal, Russell Westbrook, Rui Hachimura, Davis Bertans. Raptors, 22, Pascal Siakam, OG Anunoby, Fred VanVleet, Gary Trent.
That's the most respectable one.
That's the
right there.
most
That's the
respectable
most
one.
respectable
And
right there.
that was before Fred Van Vliet and Pascal were kind of who they were, man. They were kind of getting there at that point. Pascal was there. I think Fred was kind of establishing himself. But then the Nets in 23 was Spencer Dinwiddie, Mikal Bridges, Cameron Johnson, and Royce O'Neal. And I love Mikal Bridges and I love Spencer Dinwiddie, but
Can we just talk about this for a second?
these are not quality teams.
Right.
The Nets weren't even supposed to be
Let
there,
me-
dude. They
let me get
dismantled
something off
their
my chest.
roster.
Joel Embiid has to be the most fraudulent MVP that the NBA has seen in the last 10 years. I said it. That dude literally scored 13 points.
He shrunk in the
He
playoffs.
shrunk.
Yeah,
That
he
dude
did.
scored 13 points in the first half and didn't score again until the fourth quarter. Didn't score again until the fourth quarter. Completely got shut out. That's no MVP. His effort was trash. It was complete trash. So when you talk about a process, let me be honest with you. Without James Harden, I'm not even sure if it makes it that far. James Harden had moments in that series where he showed up and he played
but
big.
but the majority of that series he was garbage. Like he was either amazing or garbage, and that's.
But bro, nobody was going to want to play with play with Joel Embiid with him throwing teammates under the bus, saying, "Oh,
I
you got to
agree.
play better."
Yeah.
Like
I agree.
what, man? Like what? You scored? How many points did he finish with? 15? Did he finish with 15 or 18? What did he finish with, Daniel?
Let me check.
Somebody pick.
I'll check.
If we can real quick, because like to me, I don't know. Like if he's an MVP, like to me, Jokic should have been the MVP, and I get it. There's the voters fatigue, and people got tired of it. But Jokic shows up night in and night out. If he's not impacting on the boards, 15 points.
15 points.
15 MVP, right? That's what people were calling. That people were shouting. That guy's a fraud, man. And they finally gave him the MVP because all he did was kept complaining and moaning and being upset the fact that he wasn't giving it.
Oh, yeah.
It's clear to me that they are gonna give it to Jokic. I should have been given. That's what just complaining time and time and time again. And that's the effort. That's the lasting image you put on the 76ers faithful. That's the last thing they saw was Joel Embiid score 15 points, scored 13 points in the first half, and then scored 2 points. He scored 2 points the rest of the way. And that wasn't until the fourth quarter. Come on, man. That's no MVP. Listen, he needs to show up. He needs to show up before we could worry about him getting paired with a quote-unquote another star.
Season points
Boom.
per game, 33.1. Playoff points per game, 23.7.
Right.
Rebounds. He was at 10.2 on the season, 9.8 in the playoffs. Increased his blocks 2.8 compared to 1.7 per game during the season. And really, man, it's just the playoffs, like we talked about, when you're stars, you have to show out, right? You talked about consistency. Does Steph Curry have 2 or 3 bad games in a row? Does LeBron have 2 or 3 bad games in a row?
Never.
Does Luka have 2 or 3 bad
Never.
games in a row?
That's the future goal right there.
I mean,
That's
this is
my
the thing,
guy.
right? If you are that elite tier
Mhm.
guy, you have to be a given.
Mhm.
And Joel Embiid has not proven to be that. He has proven to be less than that in the playoffs. And like we talked about, when defenses come at you with different ways to guard you, you have to find ways to punish them. You have to find ways to elevate your game. We haven't seen that from Joel, man. He hasn't managed to do that when things are really tough, and things obviously haven't even been that tough for him in the playoffs all the time. I know his team has not been exceptional around him, but man, it's tough, man. It's tough, and I like Joel Embiid, and he is such a talented player. It's always been tough between him and the health, and when he's healthy and when he's not. And now, just looking at his playoff performances, man, he had those 2 years, like 4 or 5 years ago, where he was actually up there near 30 points a game and over 10 rebounds a game. This was supposed to be it for you. Like you said, if this is your MVP year and you're really trying to show out and you're really trying to prove that you've earned this, where is it? Because I don't see it.
Mm-hmm. Shout out Tyrese Maxey, though. Shout out Tyrese Maxey. He put up 17. The game before that, he put up 26. Game before that, he put up 30. So, that kid seems to be coming into his own and finding ways to continue to impact the game. But maybe Joel Embiid and James Harden could take notes from him. Right? Maybe. No, I'm not being serious here, but I'm being honest. Like that guy, he's a dog.
Yeah, at least he
Tyrese
showed
Maxey-
up.
Oh, he totally is.
I'm just saying, like, the process is officially
It is.
dead.
How is it?
It's
How is
dead.
it
The
dead?
process is
How is
dead.
it dead? That's the crazy
It's the
thing.
gone.
longest process ever, man.
So
the
is
longest.
so is Joel Embiid? Are we just writing him off for the rest of his career?
I don't think Joel Embiid's winning a ring.
Is he gonna make the finals?
I mean, if that's what we're hanging our hat
Is
on,
is
sure.
he is okay? Is he gonna? I mean, what's gonna happen? What has to happen for that? Does
need
Giannis have to get hurt?
No, they need another star on their team.
Even then, do they beat the Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, Giannis Bucks?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of teams could say that.
I think they would. I think they would. They took the Celtics right now to a game 7. They took.
we know
Let
how
the
inconsistent
people,
the
let the
Celtics are.
people, let the people see you.
They
Show the
took.
people you.
So they took the Raptors. Obviously, we know what happened. Obviously, they're losing these close series. I truly think if they have another star, we talked about Embiid not being able to do it. If he has a star on the same level or even close to the same level, a top 10, top 15 player, James Harden is the
James
top.
Harden sold. I'm not trying to tell you he didn't.
So I think if they have a top 10, top 15, top 20 player alongside Joel Embiid, I truly think they can make the finals and make a serious push. If they don't get that, I don't think Embiid can do it solely as a star like a Giannis did. So, or like a Jokic. He's a guy, he needs another star alongside him.
Was Jimmy Butler a star?
Yes.
With Philly,
Yes.
was he?
Yes.
Was he really?
He's still a
Yes.
star.
Was he really? How did he perform in the playoffs that series though? I don't think he had a superstar. I thought he was good in that series.
Listen. Listen. I think this dude. Listen. If it was LeBron, I'm just gonna say this. I hate throwing LeBron out there, but if it was LeBron, oh, he needs all the help in the world he could get. Blah 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 blah. But Joel Embiid, he needs this. He needs that. He needs this. He needs that. And my man Bucky 3113 says Jimmy played better than Embiid in that playoff run.
Yeah, I don't think
I remember
I
there
don't
were
think
like- I
Embiid was a
remember-
superstar in that run though. I think
remember
he,
that. I think there are like. I just think that we if we have to judge, we should judge everybody on an equal playing field. I just don't. Saying that Joel Embiid needs all this help around him, but expecting if other stars get players around. I'm not saying this is what Daniel's saying necessarily, but there are other people out there that would crucify other players. Jimmy Butler's doing
Yeah.
it.
Now here's the
Especially
thing.
LeBron.
Jimmy Butler, that year they went to the finals
Yeah.
against the Lakers.
Yeah.
22 points, 6.5 rebounds, 6 assists. Jimmy Butler with the Sixers. 19.4 points, 6 rebounds, 5.5 assists.
different teams though. Different teams. We know that
Same
the
level
Heat,
of
the Heat versus-
production.
the Heat versus 76ers team wise was different. The Heat. And
And
also,
are you arguing someone was carrying the load for the Heat? Like,
no,
what?
I think all around that Heat team, I mean, they meshed well, and obviously, I'm not making an excuse for Joel Embiid. He has to step up. I
Right.
just think in order for it to happen, he needs a star. So that's saying enough about Joel Embiid, I would say, is he can't be a number one, in my opinion. Like he needs somebody. He can be
MVP of the league.
and that's
Yeah.
why I agree. That's his play style hasn't shown the ability, like you said, to be able to pass out of the double teams, to be able to manufacture offense outside.
I think that's the next step for
Yeah.
him is that Jokic level. I mean, and that's obviously easy to say, incredibly hard to do because so much of that is anticipation, vision, IQ, right? It's really hard to see that double team coming, process that information, and play through that pressure because it comes quick and it comes unexpectedly. That's a talent that very few people, especially very few large NBA players, have. Luka, LeBron, Jokic, you might be able to end the list there. He's got to find some sort of trump card, some sort of way to counter that because there's a reason LeBron doesn't get double teamed anymore. It's because he'll dice you up. There's a reason you don't double team Jokic just because he will dime somebody. The same way with Luka. You can try. They will dance around and make you pay for it.
I'm not impressed with Joel Embiid's game.
Again, there's got to be something else there. You got to find a way to elevate your teammates or make
Bro,
something happen when
Al
they're coming
Horford
at
was
you.
guarding him. He's like multiple times.
He got
then-
size on Al Horford.
Mhm.
So he's being hesitant, or he takes a jumper, or he's looking to pass it out to somebody, or he'll do that large step that he does and try to put a shoulder into him and throw a shot up, hoping that he gets a foul call with no intent to actually make the shot. By the way, come on, man. I lived in New Jersey almost all my entire life before I moved to Cincinnati in August. And the last place I lived in Jersey, I went to school at Rider University, which is right outside of Philly. And everybody that lives around there are Philadelphia 76ers fans for the most part. And everybody said, "Oh, Joel Embiid is this, Joel Embiid is that, yada yada." They talked about him like he was on some god tier. Like, yeah, yes, Nick, you're right. Marcus Smart guarded him and turned him over several times. Like it's like the dude almost plays smaller than what he is at times. Like it's like, yo, you're bigger than this. You have a size mismatch on you. And you see at points when Joel Embiid's like, yo, give me the ball. I'm going to take it. And he goes for it.
Mhm.
But I don't know what happened. All series, I'm being honest, he was bullying Al Horford.
Yep.
Had Al Horford in foul trouble. This game?
Well, they put Robert Williams on him too and started doubling him. And again, you have to have an answer at that point.
Yeah.
I mean, I know a little bit of that is saying, hey, like the teammates have to step up. But you talked about Maxey doing well. We talked about Harden.
Mhm.
As bad as some of those games were.
Right, he put up 40,
2 of those games,
40?
one without Embiid, and then the other one to
He put
send
up
them
40,
to game.
right? 40
Yeah, that's what I'm
plus.
saying. Like I
Yeah,
know Harden is
yeah.
a shell of
It's
himself.
not consistent.
No,
don't
Harden
look
is a
at me
shell of
like
himself.
that.
I'm
Don't
not
look
trying
at
to
me
say
like
that. I'm just trying to say when again, LeBron, Luka, Jokic are all getting everything thrown at them.
Yeah.
Part of what makes them stars, part of what makes them elite,
Mhm.
part of what makes them great
Mhm.
is the ability to find ways to defeat that and elevate their teammates by playing to their strengths and putting them in positions to win, to score, to make a play. He doesn't do that to that level that those guys do.
And that's where who's to say he can't develop that? That's the question.
Bro,
I'm just saying
is
he
what
needs
year
to.
into the league?
But Giannis,
almost 30.
look at Giannis
Yeah.
though. Look at Giannis. Giannis is still developing. Giannis, his superstar leap, we saw him, go from a star to a superstar, and even now he's still learning how to get better. So I don't know. I'm not going to write him off completely. I will say that he hasn't shown up. He hasn't shown up, so he deserves all the criticism. But I'm just saying,
I think the injuries
I'm not writing him
are
off
a
yet.
big concern as he gets older too, though, because we know how frequent the injuries have been already. We know how laborious it can be lugging around all that weight, that muscle.
Another word.
Another word of the day there. There you go. I see
Big word.
you got the eye emoji over here on me. No, I think that's definitely something to look out for him as he gets older.
Laborious it could be.
I don't even know what that means.
It's like, you're laboring. You're laboring to carry all
There
that
you go. I
weight.
like that. I never heard of that.
Laborious. I'm laborious.
We need to add the definitions on the screen.
We'll get the little word of the day
I'm
segment in
laborious.
here.
Word of the
I'm
day.
laboriously hungry
Graphic.
right now.
So we got a quick question I want to get to. It's about Jalen Brown. When is Jalen Brown gonna go to Atlanta? Somebody said. But the bigger question.
When is Trae Young coming in? When is Trae Young coming to the Celtics?
Yeah,
So say how would they get him?
the bigger
Do
question.
you even want that?
No.
I was
No.
gonna say I don't think so.
Don't put that evil on me. But wait. Trae Young and Jason Tatum? Hold on now. I got to think about that for a second.
You just gonna go
Daniel.
hide Trae Young in the
Daniel's my
corner every
resident-
time, like when you're in the
Daniel-
playoff series?
Yeah, we'll have
That's-
to.
That's what you have. That's the thing is, that's what I think
Not even
keeps
the
Trae
corner.
Young from being a star. Is that like you have to be? You can't literally have to hide somebody because that's just you're not a star at that point. I'm sorry. You
Yeah.
can be a star offensive player, but you are not a star NBA player if you have to literally be hidden on the worst guy and stand in the corner because you're such a liability. That's my opinion. And I think the world of Trae Young's offensive ability, but that's just my opinion.
But that's something I got to think about, though. I can't lie. Like, that's something I got to think about. Trae Young to the Celtics? Jalen Brown? Because I'll be honest with you. If this goes how I think it's going to go, as a Celtics fan, I am obviously, we won a championship this year. But I just got a feeling, man, this feels like the Lakers' year. It just really does. It just feels like the Lakers' year. And I've been saying this for the longest time.
Lakers Heat. Lakers Heat.
Lakers Celtics would do numbers for the NBA.
Oh yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
it would.
Numbers for the NBA. That's a rivalry. When's the last time they faced each other in the finals? Like
It was in 20, or was it 2012?
No, that had to be back when like Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett.
Yeah,
and them were
or
playing,
2009, 2010
yeah,
years.
2009, 2008, something like that.
I
Yeah,
think it was 2010.
right.
I don't
About
know.
that
I could be
time.
wrong.
Yeah. So Malik, question: Jalen Brown, what happens to him if they don't win the finals? Is he gone or does he
he's
stay?
gone. He's gonna. I don't know if y'all see. He seems a little like unhappy too at points.
He's gone to the media to express his discontent.
Yeah.
Like he's gone on interviews with the Ringer.
His mood even on the bench just seems off from years past. Like,
He said
just
multiple
seems-
times he doesn't feel valued, and I don't see that the
Oof.
Celtics
It
give him
feels very
top dollar,
toxic.
and he's gonna want that. He feels like he's deserved it, and he has quite literally, by definition, earned that max contract.
Right.
Whether or not the Celtics want to be the ones to give it to him, I don't think so. And I think he's going to be really kind of hurt by that. I feel like he kind of already reads the tea leaves in that sense, which is why he went to the Ringer in March and did that whole interview and said, "I just want to be somewhere where I feel valued."
Yeah. So if you're the Celtics, what do you go out there and because you can't let Jalen Brown walk. He's still on the team next year. You have to be able to get something for him. So what are you trading for Jalen Brown? For me, I think you can get a pretty nice haul for him. Daniel, you're a residential Celtics fan along with myself, but what do you think? And Aiden, if you're in the comment section, Aiden is a huge Celtics fan. If the Celtics don't win this year, he's probably going to want out, right? He's probably going to more than likely win out, especially with how he may feel that he's been treated by the organization, especially if they don't offer him the max contract. So what is enough to what could you get for Jalen Brown? I'm really curious. I want to hear what you guys thoughts in the comment section. Tell us what you guys think the Celtics are forget for Jalen Brown potential trade. We're talking hypothetical right now, but what do you think? What do you think they could get for him, Daniel?
I think the way they have to go and go out and get another guard. Because let's say they don't win the finals this year. You have to look at, they've got the defense, they've got the switchability, they've got the star, quote unquote, score in Jason Tatum, but you're going to need a guy that can score alongside him, whether that's, I'm going to say some names, a Jordan Poole, right? Whether it's a Trey Young. I'm just throwing some names. That's kind of the ballpark I feel like they would go, because they're not going to.
You saying trade Jalen Brown for that?
Yeah,
Jordan Poole hasn't he been?
Well, I'm saying obviously you would have to get more, but that's the realistic if we're actually talking about it, because the Warriors could give up Jordan Poole.
You said Curry and Poole. I didn't hear what I'm saying. Brother, we ain't signing off on no Jordan Poole.
I agree, but like what else is realistic?
No, you tell us. You tell us.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying, like, if you look at, like, I got to look at the teams, but I think Jordan Poole's out there. Maybe you go and call up the Cavaliers and you say, hey, you want a Garland / Mitchell? Like, obviously, they're trying to build around them.
Stay off limits.
But maybe, maybe that's something different. Like, because you look at them, they got two big ball handlers, and it's
the Cavaliers would probably hang the phone up on us if we asked for Donovan Mitchell. I'm just being honest.
Yeah, no,
there's no way. Garland? Like,
no.
Who's to say why?
Pat, what do you mean? They're not going to give up Darius, man. It's not happening.
I agree.
I'm
throwing some names out
I know.
there. Maybe you trade the Raptors, Fred VanVleet, and something. I know that they want to get rid of him. Fred VanVleet, a couple picks. Get a guy like OG Anunoby, another wing defender.
Malik looks dissatisfied.
I'm not dissatisfied.
Unimpressed.
I think that the eyesight should be a lot higher, but I just think it should be also realistic. To me, I don't think that Donovan Mitchell is. I just think Donovan Mitchell is different. I just think he's one of those different guys. I don't know. I love Jalen Brown.
Mm-hmm.
Those of you who know me, I love Jalen Brown, and there were points at last year where I felt he was more consistent than Jason Tatum in the playoffs. But I'll tell you right now, man. I just think that Donovan Mitchell's on a different stratosphere, personally. That's just what I think. Nick said Brown for Cat.
I don't know if I want Cat on this team, though.
Not that you want. I'm like, what do you think that makes sense? Brown for Karl Anthony Towns? Aiden, what are your thoughts too?
I don't think the Celtics would do that, though. I don't see how that helps out their issues. Their issues are seriously, like, they've got the defense down. They just need a consistent scoring threat outside of Jason Tatum.
He said, I'm all set on Cat.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Man, call up the Timberwolves. See what they want for that boy, Anthony Edwards. Now we talking.
I think you're going to have to give up everything for that one.
Yeah, we'll probably give up everything.
Can I address a quick question I saw in the comments that I thought was a really good one? AKA Icy, I see in there saying, how does the Dexter Lawrence extension and now Quentin Williams reportedly wanting $25 to $30 million a year affect the Bengals extending DJ Reader? Age probably a non-factor since DJ's only 3 years older than both. I'll let you go ahead and touch on this before I dive in, Malik.
on this.
Do you have something you want to say?
I would just say I don't think that they're necessarily going to impact each other because of the position. The positions are kind of different.
So that's one thing I was going to touch on. One, DJ is currently 28, will be 29 July 1st. So that's one important thing to consider. But like Malik said, Quentin Williams is not the nose tackle type. He's the more of that pass rush interior threat. And Dexter Lawrence, while a larger human being, is one of those premium nose tackle type pass rushers. Looking just at last season, when you're talking about pass rush productivity, which is just a pressure per snap basis with weight towards sacks, because that's the goal and that's more valuable, right? Dexter Lawrence, 5th overall among defensive tackles. DJ Reader, 19th. Looking at win percentage on your blocks. Are you beating your blocks on true pass sets? So we're looking at true pass sets. Here you go. There's no play action, no quick screens, no throws under 2.5 seconds. Let's look at these real beefy chunks of data that are going to give us good value on what kind of pass rusher are you when you can pin your ears back and just go get the quarterback. Dexter Lawrence was number 1 in pass rush win rate on true pass sets with 28.6%. DJ Reader, 18.8. So this is just to say that while DJ Reader is not a slouch or a pushover, Dexter Lawrence is a different type of interior pass rusher at a different level than Reader. And I think it's also important that you may say it's only 3 years or possibly 4-year difference between these guys. That's an eternity for an NFL team. 3 years can be the difference between being in your prime or being cooked, depending on what position you're talking about. I think it also matters not just what age are you when you're extended or get a contract, but what age are you when you stop getting money on that end? And even if it's, say, a 3-year deal, you're talking about getting these other guys at age 27, 28 versus DJ Reader being age 31.
Right.
Now, I don't think that's a knock against DJ Reader, because I think being a nose tackle who's not predicated on athletic prowess, you're not going to get less big or less strong being on the interior, whereas you might get less fast or have less burst if you're playing on the edge, playing wide receiver, etc. But I agree with your initial assessment that they kind of play different positions.
Right.
He's not quite the pass rush specialist, and also that age does matter. And I don't think DJ Reader will be seeing near that $20 million mark.
Right.
I think it'll be more in that 15 to 18 range, maybe.
And while we're here, make sure you guys give this video a like, subscribe to the YouTube channel. We really do appreciate your support you guys give us each and every single week. We can't do it without you. You know, we've been talking a lot about NBA, right? And the reason why I had stopped earlier, because somebody was saying Tyrese Halliburton for 2 firsts, by the way. For Jalen Brown. Tyrese Halliburton 2 firsts for Jalen Brown.
I would do that. I just don't know if the Pacers would do that. Would they? 'Cause I would do that.
How much would you prefer getting tangible player assets, knowing that now is
I think I would want 10.
right
I would
versus
take
Yeah.
Halliburton. I would take
I'm
Halliburton.
saying no. The problem
Halliburton.
is 2 first-round picks, right? Because wouldn't you rather have a starter and maybe a good bench player who can come in and give you 20 minutes, 18 minutes of solid play versus 2 first-round picks
do me a
where
favor.
you're going to have to wait?
If you want to do that, throw in Buddy. Throw in Buddy Hield. Isn't he still there?
Isn't he with the Pacers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I'm just like, I don't know. If
You're iffy. You're iffy.
I don't know if they would do that.
Hey, they've dealt
I
with us
think he
before,
gives you
Brock,
some
didn't
interesting bench scoring, can handle the ball a little bit.
I would hope so.
I think he could be that kind of guy.
If they gave Halliburton and Buddy Hield, I think if you're the Celtics, you run.
I would just prefer to get those kind of tangible assets as opposed to saying we're going to choose a rookie in this upcoming draft and then hope he develops and gets to where he needs to be, and we hit on him, and
Unless you're giving
then
us,
we
like,
get
the
another
first
guy
overall
next
pick,
year.
we're drafting Victor Wembanyama,
Well, yeah, there you go.
That's another story. But I want to actually ask, before we jump to that question, we've been talking a lot about NBA, NFL, the whole 9 yards and answering questions. I feel like Jules has been sitting quiet a little bit. Jules, I have a question for you, if you don't mind.
Is it about the Reds?
It is.
Yes. Good news happened today. Very excited.
Well, Michael Rolfe has one question, and then we're going to get to Elise Feldman's question, and we're going to get to more other questions as well. Bucky said 313 says 33113 says Pacers hang up and block the number if they're that.
Yeah.
No, I think that's a fair trade.
I don't think they want to give up Halliburton.
But here's this though, Jules. Cincinnati just dropped their uniforms.
Ooh.
I really need to hear your thoughts on it.
Okay.
And then the second question on top of that is,
lot of big news.
Michael Rolfe asked. He said, "Jules, this is a question for you. Thoughts on Matt McClain being called up from the majors for the Reds today? I don't know if you knew.
He meant minors, I would imagine.
Minors, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So the City Connect jerseys. Anyways, I was very excited for them. I may have.
She can't contain
I may
herself.
have
Yeah,
art.
collect
Well,
yourself.
I'm not going to say that, but let's just say I knew it was going to be black. I was excited for that because I love black jerseys. And everyone's like, "Oh, they're going to be so hot." Blah blah blah. I'm like, first of all, they're playing at like 6:40, 7:10 on Fridays. It's the only days that they're wearing them, including this Friday. That's when they debut them on the field. You can have your own opinions. I don't see why people who don't even like the Reds are speaking about theirs. I'm not shading anyone. You can have your
I'm
opinions,
sitting
but
right
like
here, Jules.
I'm just saying, I don't care about opinions of people who don't even like the Reds. First of all, they're probably not going to like them anyways. And then you have the people that don't like them just because they don't like the Castellinis. So they already just aren't going to like anything they do, even if it was like the best jersey ever. Doesn't matter. And then people are saying that they're literally called City Connect, and there's no connection with this city, which, yeah, I would agree. But I don't think you can dislike something because of that. When you're looking at the product, it is clean. A lot of people are saying that. I'm saying that. And even the biggest jersey critics out there are saying that it's clean and it looks great. I mean, sure, I would like a little more, but I think less is more. I think they look great. I don't know how I feel about the black pants, but it's whatever. I don't know what other color you do. And then other people are like, they're the Reds. Where's the red at? I'm like, okay, are you talking about our white jerseys that we have or the gray ones? Like, we don't just wear red every game either. I think they're great. I think a lot of people just like being negative. I love them, and I can't wait to wear mine. Shout out to Carly for getting me mine. It was great because I could not make it to the team shop, and I had to be dramatic instead of ordering online because I wanted to be sure it would get there in time for Friday night against the Yankees. We're going to sweep the Yankees. I'm excited. I have all the confidence in the world that we will, at the very least, and I'm saying I pay their bills, at the very least, win the series. I'm excited. And then to Matt McClain, I was shocked that he was called up essentially today. I figured they would wait till like Thursday or literally the day that we play the Yankees. So
Why would they do that?
Because more fans are going to be there and they want more Reds fans there, because the Yankees series is already a big deal because they don't play them every year, especially at home. And now they're playing every team in the entire league. So that's fun.
So when they announced it earlier in the week to try and build up, like,
yeah, that's my
excitement for
thing.
it?
I mean, it makes sense that they did, but I was thinking at the the latest that they would Friday. And if not, then like people are going to be literally so mad, and they want to get people there. That's the whole thing. They've been promoting the Yankee series since the off season. Pretty much, you see it all over billboards off 75 or 71. But yeah, I'm really excited.
Well, Marissa seems very happy about it. She said Matt McClain's going to be a major boost to the team.
And he also we have a lot of shortstops. So right now we have Kevin Newman, Jose Barrero. They've been very underwhelming. So Matt McClain's going to come in, take their spot right away. I already know that. And not only is he great on defense, but obviously the thing that people are very excited for is he's a great hitter. I mean, he was slashing 348, 474, 710, 12 homers, and 138 at-bats. And he leads all AAA and OPS at 1.184. RBIs 40 and total bases 98. I mean, I'm excited. Hopefully he transfers it or whatever into the big leagues. It's a jump, and there's a lot of anticipation. I think I'll do good. I'm excited.
Let's go.
And we need Strand Up and Ellie De La Cruz. I feel like they're coming up very soon here too.
Somebody said obviously being facetious, said, "Oh, since he has a baseball team?" ?
Who are you a fan of?
Right.
Yeah, let me know who you're a fan of, and then I'll have words for them. Cincinnati does have a baseball team. Thank you very much. The first team in all of pro sports.
You know what's funny?
Look at
Isn't
us.
Cincinnati or the Ohio, or I think it's Cincy, the originator of pro baseball or something like that, right?
Yeah.
The Reds were the first.
The first professional team in all of sports.
And isn't it like I feel like Ohio gets a lot of heat, but Ohio is also the birthplace of football. So like,
yeah, I
and
feel
people
like
don't
we
talk
have
about
the
those things
best. I
enough.
mean, that's biased for me to say we have the best sports environment, but I do really feel like
I'm
our
telling
sports
y'all right
environment
now,
is great.
Cincinnati
The
is where
vibes
it's
here,
at. They need to clip this. Cincinnati is where it's at when it
It
comes to
is.
sports, right? All we need is an NBA team. No, I'm sorry about your Cavaliers. We
They
used
did
to
have one.
We had one back in the day, right? And
now
now
they're
we don't.
Sacramento.
Now,
Can we retroactively bring the Kings
the
back?
fact
'Cause
that
that's
Cincinnati is where it's at. It's an underrated sports market, from the baseball to the college sports. UC's coming up. The Bengals are coming up,
Hey,
right?
Xavier ain't no
The
slouch. All right,
Bengals.
let's
Like,
lay off you.
Shout out to the Cyclones.
Yeah, I'm telling you, Cincinnati is such an underrated sports market, and that's really why I moved out here too, man. Because like I said, it's just really awesome to be able to walk into coffee shops and talk to people every single day about sports, who like sports, who love sports,
So
and
great.
just there's always something going on in the city, whether it's college basketball, whether it's even the Cyclones,
Those
big-
are those
hot
games are
hockey.
so fun.
Right, and
FCC,
I've yet to go to one. FCC.
soccer.
There's so much that
so
goes
fun.
on in Cincinnati,
And there's
man,
so much to do around the arenas as well.
Yeah, I
It's
agree.
Great.
I agree. So I can't say enough good things about this. Danny, do you have any more questions?
Yeah.
The people are alive in the chat today. I
Go
love it.
Reds.
Oh yeah. So we got one question.
Yeah.
Let's give our official predictions.
Sure.
They're asking about, do you think the Celtics are going to win the championship? But the main question I want to ask you guys is, who's going to win the series first off, Heat versus Celtics?
Celtics. I know what you're gonna say. The Heat don't win. The Heat don't.
No.
The Heat win. The Heat can't win anything
Exactly.
with that reverse jinx.
The Celtics
I-
are going to
I
go
think-
4-0 and sweep the Heat.
I think it'll be 4-2 Celtics. I think the
love it.
Heat will come in. I
love it.
think the Heat will come in, win the first game. Or honestly, I don't know.
No.
No,
Celtics
Celtics come in and say, I don't know.
Stick with your guns.
Stick with my
Clean
guts.
sweep for the Celtics. Where's the little logo for the all of us pick
Evan,
the Celtics?
Evan, are we
then
going
can
to a game?
screenshot it.
Are we going to a game?
I don't know, Malik. We going to a game? If
well,
we are, we're going
I wanna
to
see
Miami.
Kevin Love.
Well, they
Can I
play in
please
Boston
go?
Friday.
You know,
Oh no, I'm going to the
I
Reds
think
game.
I think I could be sick for work next week sometime. You know, for
Oh,
a
you got
little
the
Miami
Reds.
trip.
Yeah?
What? Game 4 is going to be an elimination game. What are you talking about?
No,
you don't
it's
want to go
not.
see an
No,
it's
elimination
not.
game in Miami?
Seize
Game
up.
Man.
six. Game 6. I feel like it's going to be.
I have another thing I wanted to say.
Sure.
I'm bringing my signs back for the Yankees series because
Oh yeah.
I very passionately do not like New York teams.
Same.
The Liberty, they're an exception of that. They're great, unproblematic. Sabrina Ionescu plays for them, so I like them. Anyways, everyone else I don't like. And I'm a hater, and I'm proud to be a hater of the New York Yankees and the Knicks, mainly.
You know what I'm not looking forward to? Well, maybe I am looking forward to. All the dudes that are gonna have headbands on their head this year because Joe Burrow
Oh yeah.
debuted a Bengals headband, and you already know this city is gonna be on fire
Yeah.
for it. The guy literally
Mhm.
walks. Listen, I remember when he came out with the Cartier
glasses, I
shade
have
glasses,
those.
and everybody had those, and the Joe JB9 chain and all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. The guy is like a modern day Joe Namath, if you will, walking around, and
Crazy.
It's just the way people follow that guy, man. I don't know, it's crazy, man. All I know is that I love sitting up here with my crew each and every single Monday, live on the Sit Down with Malik Wright, presented by First Star Logistics, and I love talking with you guys. Again, if you're looking to start your career as a broker, I love the sign Jules got. If you're looking to start your career as a broker, right, and you want to join, she says, I hope, that sign says, I hope, but wait, put it up, Jules, let them see
I
it.
said I just
Let-
hope both teams
Show
have fun.
them, show them it, right?
Mainly for the Celtics and
Right.
Heat series. I'm mainly just hoping Kevin Love has fun,
Mm-hmm.
but he doesn't get enough time
No.
to have fun half the time. So
Right, Caleb Martin's gonna have a lot
but
of
I
fun.
love him, and I just want to say that. Anyways,
But to that point, no, keep the sign up. Keep
Oh.
the sign up. You says about I just hope both teams have fun. If you're looking to join an awesome team, you're looking to start your career as a broker. Seriously, there is no better place than First Star Logistics. Make sure you apply today. Unlimited potential here, amazing atmosphere, amazing people here. Can't say enough great things. Make sure you apply to First Star Logistics. The link is down in the description. Start your career today. We want to thank you guys so much for joining us for another episode of the Sit Down with Malik Wright, live from the First Star Logistics studio here in Cincinnati, Ohio. Heat Celtics game for game 1 is on Wednesday, and I cannot wait.
go
Tomorrow,
Kevin.
Daniel and I will be back for the Right Bet Show, as we will get you guys all geared up for our favorite bets for game 1 for Lakers versus Nuggets and game 1 Heat versus Celtics. So make sure you guys keep it locked. We appreciate your support. Give this video a like, subscribe to the channel.